Those who do not confess Christ truly, do not affirm the true gospel, have no place participating in any enterprise that intends to advance God's purpose and God's kingdom in the world. It is irrational. Why is it irrational? 4 rhetorical questions lay it out for us. For what partnership have righteousness and lawlessness? I mean, are these hard questions? Rhetorical though they be, they are self-evident, axiomatic. What partnership have righteousness and lawlessness? Obviously, none. Metake, the word for partnership here, it's a strong word. It's a synonym of koinonia. It is partner, companion, companionship. Means to be a mutual partaker, find common ground. It is absolutely impossible for 2 such realities as righteousness and lawlessness to accomplish anything for God together.
I have been looking forward to this evening for a very, very long time. It has been my desire to engage in a dialogue like this, and when the opportunity came that I'd be coming into this area, I contacted Dr. Qadhi, and I put out the call, and the church here was so kind to respond and to join with us in providing a place for us to have our conversation this evening. I want you to understand what our motivations are this evening in coming together. This is not a debate. Some of you have seen debates that I have done around the world. This is not intended to be a debate. We are going to, of necessity, discuss differences that we have. The thing that makes this wonderful, and the reason that I sought out Dr. Qadhi, aside from the fact that I have learned so much from him over the years, that he's been a primary influence in my study of Islam. I am a student of Islam, and I have learned much from him. But the reason I specifically sought him out is because I sense in him such a kindred spirit on the other side of the chasm that divides us in regards to our theology and our beliefs. He is a consistent Muslim. He believes what he says. He wants to seek for consistency amongst his people and his own practice. And so when you have 2 believing people, one Christian, one Muslim, come together and say, we need to discuss not only what divides us, but also where do we have similarities? How can we live in the same community? And the most important thing is this. If we do what I hope happens this evening, we're going to do something absolutely unique. It hardly ever happens. And that is 2 communities where unfortunately there is a lot of fear on both sides. There is a lot of misunderstanding on both sides. And as a Christian, I want to see doors opened. As a Christian, I want you, as if you are a Christian here this evening, to not have fear of the Muslim people, but to have love for the Muslim people. I want the Muslim people to understand that we care and that we want to have dialogue, and that we're not seeking this evening to sweep our differences under the rug and say they don't matter. Dr. Qadhi cannot present an Islam that is just simply one view amongst many. I believe in divine revelation. He believes in divine revelation. So how do we get along? How do our communities talk to one another? The sad fact of the matter is that conversation isn't happening. And I want it to start tonight. And I want it to start here. So if you're a praying person, pray that we will have understanding. That if you're a Christian, I want you to hear what this man has to say. I want you to understand why he believes the things he does, what his life is like here in the United States as a Muslim. And I want you to hear especially when he talks about what Islam is and what it is not and who speaks for Islam and all these types of things. I want you to hear so that we can have better communication with one another. That's why we're here this evening. I hope that's why you've come here this evening.
Any attempted fellowship in common is ridiculous, damaging, falsely reassuring to the unbeliever, and confusing to the world. The thought that a believer could engage in fellowship with an unbeliever for some kingdom purpose, for some spiritual purpose, is as blasphemous as the idea that Jesus would cooperate as a partner with Satan in the same thing. It's unthinkable. God uses Satan. He does not fellowship with him. He does not associate with him. Pagans don't mind joining Christians in religious activity. They welcome it. Why? Because Satan wants to infiltrate. Do you understand that? They're ready to take you on, to embrace you. In fact, they love that. That's just a big score for them, gives them legitimacy. We can't join with unbelievers in worship. We can't join with unbelievers in ministry. We can't join with unbelievers, listen, in any enterprise that involves God's name. That's blasphemy. That's sacrilegious.
Says that do not say he was crucified. They neither killed him, they meaning the children of Israel, they neither killed him nor crucified him, but rather, and this is really ambiguous even in the Arabic, it was made to appear to them so. I just translated the Arabic.
What does that mean?
It was made to appear to them so. Now, that's what the Quran says. Muslim exegetes, and this is not from the Quran, this is their interpretation. So I don't consider their interpretation to be divine, but yes, we are sympathetic to it. I am sympathetic to it. Muslim exegetes have interpreted that Jesus was not crucified nor even placed on the cross, but rather that God saved him. Now this is an interpretation that is mainstream. And they claim, this is not from the Quran, as I said, this is from later Muslim historians and theologians. They claim that Judas, the traitor, was punished by God to resemble Jesus, so that when the Roman soldiers entered the garden, they saw Judas the traitor and they assumed him to be Jesus, and they killed and crucified him, and that's a befitting end to a traitor. And so people assumed that Jesus had been crucified. And that's what the Quran says, it was made to appear to them so. Muslims believe, now this is the shocker that every time I say this, Christians are like, what, you guys believe this? Muslims believe, not only did Jesus was not killed nor was he crucified, he's still alive right now. Muslims believe Jesus is alive and he shall come back towards the end of times. And his return is going to signal one of the last great signs, and the great Armageddon and Judgment Day will come after his coming back. Muslims are looking forward to Jesus' return, because when Jesus comes back, we believe his soldiers and his army will be us Muslims. We believe we will follow Jesus Christ, and we also believe, and this is in the hadith or the sunnah of the Prophet, that every true Christian will then recognize that they were incorrect in the Trinity and then follow Jesus as well. Right. So we actually believe Muslims and Christians will not fight against one another in the Armageddon, contrary to what some strands of Christianity are preaching. We believe that there's going to be a pagan, or Ya'juj and Ma'juj, a little bit advanced, I mean, a foreign or a paganistic groups of people with the Antichrist behind them, and Muslims and Christians will be monotheists fighting behind Jesus Christ. So this is the respect and honor we give Jesus. Jesus is of the mightiest prophets and messengers, but from the Islamic perspective, he's not in any shape, fashion, or form divine.
Now,
by the way, the term living God is a wonderful New Testament term. It's in contrast to dead idols. We worship the living God. So any joining of ourselves to non-believers in any common enterprise that bears the name of God is a sacrilege. It is putting our God next to Dagon.